Hello, everybody. Welcome to the very last episode. This has been a marathon. We have been stuck inside this room for 5 days straight.
Far too long.
Now it is time to talk about my favorite race of the entire 40K universe.
Races.
Races.
Faction.
I'm sorry.
Faction.
Whatever. What category?
Category.
My favorite category of the 40K universe. Xenos. I love the Xenos. I love their lore. I love everything about them. They're fucking awesome.
Aliens.
Yeah, I do. They fucking they make my ass loose.
Shit starts with an X.
It don't even make no sense.
I'm not even saying this for a point.
It should be pronounced XENOS. The fuck is Xenos?
They made movies just titled Aliens.
Yeah, dude, that's how cool they are.
Exomorphs.
Xenos! First up, what we're talking about here is the beloved and hated Tau Empire.
Oh, they're both. Come on.
They're
They're
both
so
loved
hated
and
right now.
hated.
They're so hated right
Yeah.
now. I can't
Actually,
even
right
begin.
now they kind of sucks. They're not
Yeah,
hated
they're
as
terrible.
much.
They're not hated as much, but they're loved.
So,
You turn the corner and you see Riptide, you're like,
so if you're getting into Warhammer 40K, my personal favorite, my army, myself, is the Tau Empire. The Tau are relatively new as far as like the lore goes. They're a really new race. They're very young in the galactical term. They are kind of seen as the good guys, but the really interesting thing about them is that there's not as much lore. The thing about the Tau Empire is that they are the light. They are the thing in the universe. They are the beacon. They are the people to bring peace to the universe. You are to follow their way of life. They are the greater good. They believe in the greater good. They push out into space and expand their empire to promote better welfare for individuals, to unite warring tribes, to bring the universe into a peaceful coexistence, right?
That sounds like communism, bro.
Exactly. Everybody jokes about
Communism.
Communism works on The thing about the Tau is that they're actually a caste system. So you have the fire caste, which are the warriors. They're the big tough guys. They're the soldiers you see on the ground, are the ones operating the battle suits. There's the water caste, which are the worst ones out of all of them. They're basically diplomats. They talk. You have the earth caste, which are engineers. They're designers. They're mechanics. You have the air caste, which are pilots. They are the ones who fly the spacecraft.
Only the Avatar, master of all 4 elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished.
And if you're getting into 40K and you want something that uses a lot of mechs, that uses ridiculous firepower, that's the Tau Empire. Yeah. They are a firing gun line. That is what they do. They shoot at you from across the table. You get up to them. They move. They shoot at you again. That is their whole point. Is they focused huge amounts of really punishing, really strong firepower. Yeah. They utilize drones. That's one of the really cool things, right? Where this drone can jump in front of a plasma bolt or a bolter round and take the shot for you. So it's really cool. Their big suits that they use, like Riptides, you're gonna hear a lot of stuff about Riptides. Riptides are like one of the biggest like units, mechs that you can take in the Tau Empire, and a lot of people use like 3 of them, and they just wreck house. They shoot a lot of things off the table.
The reason why people talk about Riptides a lot is because Riptide is probably like the most efficient unit out of the Tau Codex. And that speaks volumes about the Tau Codex because a Riptide is very expensive in points, but they have like amazing weapons. And literally like almost everything else in the Codex is kind of lackluster compared to what you can get off of a Riptide.
If you're getting into it, some of the models you'd want is pretty stock vanilla Tau. Is you're going to want Fire Warriors, which are the infantry, and you're going to want Ethereals, and you're going to want Crisis Suits, and Riptides. Those are bone stock. Those are the things they've got.
Drones.
And drones, drones. Drones come with everything.
Yeah.
Right? Literally, like any box you buy of Tau's got drones in it. I love them. I think they have a great lore to them. I like playing them as a guy who like, gets into combat.
People.
Yeah.
They're
Fish people with
with
hooves.
It's
Yeah,
Watercast
with hooves.
named everything.
Yeah,
That's
and
why
then
it's
like,
that.
Shadow Sun has like sexy models that you can buy.
Oh yeah, they're
It's pretty
super,
cool.
They're
If
super
you guys,
weeboo.
yeah, if
Roll
you guys go
34.
on Google and you type in Shadow Sun sexy, you'll see.
Oh yeah,
some
no,
pretty cool
there's
models.
a
There's
whole
some-
bunch.
Yeah, there's a bunch. So that's Tal.
Yeah.
Does that feel good?
Yeah, not as
Getting
good
it all
as I
off your,
thought.
not as good as you thought.
Well, just because I'm telling like that's the thing. We're trying to tell people how to play the game, and
Yeah.
my favorite army right now is terrible.
Yeah,
You know,
I know
and,
what you're.
and,
Yeah,
and
was
I
gonna
hope
say,
it
he
gets
gets
better.
it.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
speaking to the
yeah.
choir, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this is the thing, guys. It will get better. This is it's constantly evolving.
There's no way they get worse.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about 40K is that no matter what you get into, at one point you're gonna hate it, and
Yeah.
then you're gonna love it. You know, it's just
Definitely.
it's just riding that wave.
All right. Next up, we're doing
Doing the
a
Necrons.
new an army that just got a recent codex update.
Yes.
Necrons.
We're talking
Perfect
about
example
Necrons.
of hating them and loving them.
Yeah,
you know?
that is perfect example.
Cool.
So, okay, so Necrons, people always ask me if I had to pick a Xenos army, what would I play?
Why is this still here?
I don't know.
He likes it.
Go Center Studios.
So Necrons were, way back in the day, they were a short-lived, very sad biological race with super cancer. And then and they always hate each other, they murder each other, and then they were like, this dude named the Silent King, his name is Zarek, was like, yo, guys, there's these dudes called Old Ones, let's ask them for immortality. And the Old Ones said, piss off. So they said, okay, let's fight them. So they try to fight them, and they found these other gods called the Catan, and the Catan were like, yo, I heard you want to be immortal, kids. Come into this vat with me. And the Silent King was like, fuck yeah.
Get into my ice cream truck.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
And so they ripped all of their flesh away and replaced it with metal exoskeletons called biotransference. And now the entire Necron race is doomed as unthinking, soulless husks. And then the Catan then fed on all of their souls and used them as slaves. So then they wiped out all the old ones. And then Zarek was like, oh good, the Katana have all been exhausted, they're tired from the war, and he led his whole Necron people to murder the shit out of the Catan. And since gods can't die, they split them in a whole bunch of shards and imprisoned them in vaults. And then they all went to bed for a while. And now like 40 million years. So now the Necron race has re-arrived, the Silent King has returned from his little vacation of guilt. And they see the rest of the races as vermin populating their galaxy. They have
Well, they are. I mean, that's clearly what they are.
Exactly. This is their birthright, the conquest of the galaxy, and they will do whatever they want to take it back. The Necrons in-game are kind of a hybrid of, well, they used to be very big in shooting, but now they've got shooting, they've got good melee, they've got great armor. They have the resiliency of Death Guard in a sense, because since they're all unthinking, unfeeling automatons, whenever they quote die, their protocols get in, their reanimation protocols, and often they'll just kind of like pop right back up, and they'll keep on walking. The Necrons are also based on like a system of nobles. They have pharaons, and they have overlords and lords, and they have much better armor, and they have a lot more of their mind left, whereas the warriors are still like unthinking, unfeeling. You have lots of awesome named characters. Imhotep the Stormlord.
Imhotep, dude,
Imhotep's
my favorite.
badass.
My favorite.
Trazyn the Infinite, who's a little
Trazyn.
shithead.
His
We
pose.
we all love Trazyn. Personally, I love Illuminor Zeraz.
Same.
Who is basically Fabius Bile, but for the Necrons. Necrons, right now, as they play, there's a couple ways to play them. Shooting is a big part. You can do a thing called Silver Tide, which is giant 20-man blobs of warriors, and they slowly shamble their way up. A lot of the army's kind of slow unless you're doing dedicated melee. It's like 20-man blobs of warriors that shamble forward. They blast things with their weapons, and when you shoot them, they get right back up. You also have big melee groups with like Novok, which are flayed ones, as you mentioned earlier, which are Necrons that...
Flayed ones are dope.
They are.
Yeah,
they
they
drape...
just got new models too.
They just did
The claws.
Yep.
Yeah, they got these long tendrils, and they drape the skin of their enemies on their flesh in order to frighten other people. It's really frightening. They've got destroyer models and like giant War of the Worlds stalkers, and those Catan I mentioned, the ones that have been split into shards, can now be fielded as actual weapons for the Necrons. So the newest one, the Void Dragon.
The Void
my
Dragon.
God.
Which is apparently, a lot of people believe was the inspiration for the Omnissiah.
Oh.
Because it lied in the depths of Mars.
Oh.
And it fucks with the machines. The idea is that it like goes forward, just emitting static electricity, and all your shit just stops working. If you want an entire army of undead Egyptian robot skeletons that you can play shooting, melee, War of the Worlds, like Egyptian tomb style, they're the monolith. They have a giant fucking pyramid that rolls up and teleports units. The Portal of Exile is their melee weapon. It's a portal, and it just fucking...
It just grabs you.
It sucks people in, and you get like teleported into like the galactic void, never to be seen again.
And also, too, I mean, even their models themselves, they're easy to build. I mean,
they're probably the
there's
easiest
some that
model
are a
to
little
paint.
difficult, but they're easy to build. They're easy to paint.
Warriors are so easy to play.
They're probably
with green.
Yeah, there's literally probably the easiest army to paint in the entire game. Now, if you were to recommend models, what would
Necron warriors, 100% Necron warriors,
Destroyers.
tons of warriors. Maybe destroyers if you kind of want destroyer cults. I would recommend the new Scorpex, the Ophidian destroyers and the Scorpec destroyers. Definitely get yourself an Overlord. And the new Cryptex aren't out yet, but like the Technomancers and stuff might be good. And I would recommend, just cause like normally I would like don't get the Void Dragon or the Monolith or the Silent King because they're so big and scary.
Should get a monolith.
But you should at least get one.
You
of
gotta
those.
get a monolith. Yeah, you gotta get a monolith.
Yeah.
Like you have to.
Like at least one of those three. Pick one because they're all
You're
like
not
400
you're not a
points.
Necron player unless you have a monolith. Like I'm sorry.
It's a Lord of War now, though. One of those three, either the King, the Monolith, or the Void Dragon.
Yeah.
Get the
fair,
king.
Fair.
The King is so
King,
cool.
the
Get
King's
the
probably-
king.
Yeah.
Get the
I think Necrons are really good for
or the
people,
monolith.
Yeah.
Void Dragon's like last.
Necrons are really good for people getting into Warhammer right now. They just got their update. They got a bunch of cool new models, easy to paint.
So good.
Yeah.
I'm mad that I'm building a Tyranid army because I'm like, fuck, I mean, I wish I was building
Speaking of Tyranids,
Speaking of Tyranids,
my second favorite.
I'm gonna pee.
yeah, you guys.
I was also gonna go pee.
Everyone,
Oh no, hey, I'm in it, bro.
No, you guys
hours.
want to take a break? You go ahead, go pee.
Yeah.
Go pee
I'll
with
be
him.
there.
No,
you
go
want cross
pee
streams,
with him.
Ricky?
Yeah, go ahead, go.
I'll do it later.
All right, so Tyranids, here we go.
Let's go.
Okay,
Here we
Tyranids.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go!
Tyranids, obviously, it's my favorite. It's my favorite army in the entire game. First one I ever got. Love them to death. Fucking their lore. They don't have a lot.
They don't have
They
one.
really don't have a lore.
Oh my God, they're here.
Yeah. So what's interesting about Tyranids is that all of their lore is secondhand.
Yep.
Because they come to a world. Whenever they come to a world, they turn off all psychic powers. Right. They make it so then people can't communicate with other worlds.
Shadow in the Warp.
Yeah, that's what Shadow of the Warp is. So then they can't call for help, and then they just completely just destroy the world. And then whoever are the survivors or the remnants, those are the people that talk about Tyranids because Tyranids can't talk. You know, they're aliens. They don't understand fucking speech. Or maybe they do.
They can. They just choose not
They
to.
just choose not to. Whatever it is.
above them.
Yeah. So you just hear all these secondhand stories about this massive, huge, like fucking monsters coming in and just destroying everything. Whatever they do, it's all in order to advance their race, make them stronger, and like adapt their bodies, adapt their the way that their physiology to make them stronger and absorb information for the hive mind. They basically just go to a planet and then they just eat the dirt. They eat biomass.
They
is
don't
what
eat
it's
the
called.
dirt. They eat the people.
Yeah, they eat the people, they eat the biomass.
And
all of their weapons are made out of biomass. It's like everything that they have is literally just their bodies shooting out like different toxins, shooting out different like
It's not even toxins.
or whatever it is.
Well, it's alive.
Yeah.
Their weapon, their ammunition is living.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
parasites that are
like,
flying at
yeah,
you.
like I think that what is it? A venom cannon. Like literally, it shoots out and then like it pierces. It's like acid almost, and then like it goes inside of the it goes inside of like armor, and then like it just eats you alive. Like it's fucking sick. But I just say that they want to eat dirt because they just consume worlds. They want to eat dirt. They just they go nom. They don't mind dying. They don't care. They're expendable. Termagants. I think that after they're done killing a world, what they'll do, they'll go into all the Termagants that are left over. They'll literally run into an acid of spawning pool, and then just die.
Because there is no weed.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so then their mass can just be absorbed by the hive mind again.
It might be the biggest threat in the galaxy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. But like it's
guess
funny.
Orks maybe, but-
It's funny because like there's like all these different like wars going on and like different like like civil wars between like planets, right? In 40K, like a bunch
sure,
of people are
like
fighting
some
against each
chaos.
other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know,
There
a bunch
is
of
a-
people are
there is
fighting each
only
other.
war,
And then there's just this fucking Tyranid race that's just like,
Oh, hello.
Oh yeah. Cool.
that's basically their lore. Unfortunately, they are about like middle to low tier in gameplay. But the way that they want to play is that they kind of just throw bodies all over the field. They are a horde army, so you're bringing in lots and lots and lots of just like cheap chaff units, slinging them across the board and getting board control. Out of every army in the game, Tyranids are known for board control. That is their thing. That is what they excel at. That is their play style. Is just straight up just board control
They
and
deep
having
strike,
their units
they
die.
outflank, they
Yeah.
subterranean.
Overrun.
They do lots of
Yeah.
body blocking. They do lots of wrapping. They do lots of tagging.
Conga lining.
Conga lining, which has all been nerfed in 9th edition. And that's kind of like why they're pretty much in a bad spot. Out of all the Horde armies, they're probably the worst Horde army.
Yeah.
I'd argue that.
Yeah.
They are.
But what's cool is that they kind of
Orks are pretty good.
yeah. They soup really well within themselves. So you can run them as a mono faction, and they work fine. Like their shooting is insanely good. There's lots of different ways that you can run them. So many different variations that you can run them with. They have a bunch of different models. You can soup them with Genestealer cults. They shoot hard. Melee is kind of meh. They are all fearless because they have synapse. What synapse is that whenever a model is near you, they never have to take a morale test. So that means that even if you kill off like 15 Termagants or whatever, they don't give a shit. You can have like one Termagant left and he's still on synapse. He's not gonna run. He's so fucking fearless. He just wants to eat dirt for the high
I'm hungry.
Yeah, and he's like, "Nom, nom, nom." They have lots and lots of OBSEC. Their cons, basically, their HQs are super expensive. Your cheapest HQ choice is 95 points, unless you count a Tyranid Prime, which I'm not going to because they're garbage. But fucking a Neurothrope, 95 points. Your HQs can cost anywhere from like 95 to 250 points. And they are expensive, and they are hard to just keep on the board. Model point cost is pretty high right now. Chapter approved hit them really hard. They die fast, obviously, because they're a horde army. Another really big con is that they are mad expensive. They are super expensive models.
Price
Like the
through the
price of their models are insanely large. An average like competitive list that runs about 200 Termagants, or like even like 120. 200 Termagants by itself, if you buy them from GW, will cost you about $500. That is how expensive they are. Yeah, and you'll run that. That's something that you want to run is about 200 Termagants or like maybe 120 Termagants. But it's just going to be mad expensive. Warriors, I've talked about it a lot of times.
It's a meme on this channel.
Tyranid
at this point.
warrior.
Yeah, Tyranid Warriors, 3 models. They cost $55 each in order to get...
$55 each?
$55.
For 3 models.
Yeah.
For
No,
three.
$45 each.
Yeah.
For
For
three models.
I'm sorry,
For
45 for
three-
3 models. Yeah.
Three models.
For
Yeah.
3 models.
$45 for 3 models. You want a group of 9 of them. That is 3, and you want 2 groups of 9 of them. That is about $300. That's more than $300 that you're going to be spending on them, which is fucking insane. That is expensive as shit.
Yeah.
That's why your best bet when you're running Tyranids is secondhand shops, secondhand models, secondhand armies. That's going to be your best bet in order to buy them. Now, in terms of models that are good, there's a bunch of different models that are cool. Haruspex is fucking badass. It's just a dude that just like eats a fucking a model and then just like eats him and then heals himself. You've got stuff like fucking the Flying Hive Tyrant. I love that model. It's like my favorite model in the game. He just flies around, does psychic powers. Not all of them are great, so I'm just gonna give you the ones that are good. And that what you should probably start off with. Number 1, Termagants. You want Termagants. Termagants are just great chaff units. They score you objectives. They die easily, but you can bring like a bunch of them. Like I said, you want to bring like 120 or 200 of them. Great models. The next one, S tier, Exocrine, just in general, one of the best models like in the game. At least one of them.
It's a really good one.
It's
Exocrines
really,
are
really
really
good.
good.
It's great at killing Marines.
Diamond in a rough with the rest of the Tyranid armies.
Oh yeah, it is
Yeah.
hands down the best unit for Tyranids. You really want to get a Neurothrope. That's like your space psyker, big brain dude.
Huge brain.
Brain bugs.
He's just going to be casting like Catalyst. Symbiote Storm has a 3-up Invuln, which is crazy. He's basically your buffing character. And then Hiveguard. I'm not a big fan of Hiveguard, but a lot of people like Hiveguard. So that's why I put him in here. They ignore line of sight. They have a 36-inch range gun. 8 strength, -2 AP, D3 damage, which is swingable. But it's like one of our only SA guns that is reliable. But that's Hive Guard. But those are the ones that you want that you want in order to play well. The ones that you want that are cool though.
Molochs.
You want some
Molochs,
Molochs?
thank you,
Molochs.
Thank you.
Bro, you want Molochs?
Molochs.
You
Molochs.
want fucking, you want the Swarm Lord?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want the Brood Lord?
yeah.
You want like literally every
Yo,
fucking
wait.
giant
Yo,
model?
where's my Tyrannocyte?
I have a Sporocyst.
It's okay.
What
Get a Tyrannocyte.
What about the Lictor?
Oh, the Lictor? Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't even say the Lictor in here. The Lictor, a really amazing unit, just because you can get deploy scramblers off of him. The Lictor is literally one of the worst fucking units in the Tyranid Codex. Its melee is awful. It cannot shoot. It could charge, I guess, which is cool. Whatever, I don't care. Just maybe it's -1 to hit. Doesn't matter. You get deploy scramblers off of him. He's only 37 points. He's a great model in order to get him for.
That's the thing about Tyranids the most that I found is that I like all the models.
I love all the models.
Like there's not an
amazing model.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
not really
yeah.
any model that I'm
Yeah.
like, I hate that. Like,
Yeah.
like I like all of them.
Yeah, but that is Tyranids. Yeah, they're cool. I love them. Favorite model.
Well,
That's-
don't stop now. You got Genestealer cults next.
Okay, so next.
Genestealer cults are the pre-deployment of the Tyranids. So, Genestealer cults, they send spores down to the planet. The planet that they then infiltrate into a genome inside of a baby that's in a womb. That baby comes out. He's got genetic makeup of Tyranid, kind of in their DNA, and over various generations, that creates mutations. In that, they worship the four-armed god and this new religion, and their whole point is to destabilize the populace on the planet in preparation for the Tyranid Devour. Yeah. They've got some. It's you're human-ish, sorta. You've got an extra arm or two.
You're probably.
Gremlin.
Yeah, you got
you're-
weird heads.
You're
Testicles.
kind of deformed a little bit now.
Still.
Yeah, you look really weird.
But if you walk into Walmart, you'll totally blend in.
They're very like guerrilla fighters.
Yeah.
They skitter underneath everything, and they like organize little barrel fires in the
Well,
bottom
their
of
whole
the depths.
thing is that they're espionage.
Yeah,
They're,
it's like
the,
sleeper
they're, the,
agents.
they're the underground sleeper agents of the Tyranids. They slowly mutate the human populace and destabilize it, and then the Tyranids show up, and then the Genestealer cults are like, yes, eat us. Yes, it's fucking weird.
Pain. I love pain. So that's Genestealer cults. They are pretty much a middle tier army. They're slightly competitive in the right hands. This is an army that's very toolbox heavy. They have a lot of different tools that you can use in order to play the game.
Literally.
They play a lot. The way that they play, they have a really interesting mechanic called blips. And what that means is that when you're deploying your units, you don't even have to put your units on the field. You just put like little markers on the field. So like every unit gets like, I think 2 markers. You can maybe make it 3 markers. And you just put them on the field. So you just have like all these little blips, all these little like markers on the field. And then you just say, all right, I'm done deploying. And then your opponent has, when they do their turn, they
have to guess
They
what
have
it
to
is.
guess where the fuck any of your shit is.
It's the idea that they're all like kind of hidden underneath, and they finally kind of scurry out.
It's
they're
definitely
fucking
one of
weird.
the coolest. One of
I
the coolest
love
things.
that mechanic.
It's such a cool
Like
mechanic.
even fighting that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh god, what is that?
Yeah,
What's gonna come out?
yeah, you can
And then
just-
you get there, and you're like, it's one dude, and then it's like 50. You're like, ah, fuck.
Yeah, so like, they have a lot of redeploy stratagems, lots of redeploy shenanigans, lots of deep strike stuff, but they're completely glass cannon.
Yeah.
This is like one of the most glass cannon units in this entire game.
Probably is. I'd argue it's number one.
Yeah,
I'd say it's the
it
most.
could be number one. They they barely have any invuln saves, if any. And like they die so fast.
I mean, I think their toughest unit is an aberrant, isn't it?
It's like T5.
Yeah,
with like a 5
yeah.
up save. Or
Yeah,
something.
like I mean, like one of the models that you want is a rock grinder, and that's like a T5 vehicle. Yeah, their pros redeploys a lot, got their blips. They're great in melee because of rock saws. Rock saws are super strong. They have a Kellermorph. Kellermorph.
Kellermorph!
Kellermorph!
The Kellermorph is like a really, really cool model. It's like this dude that has like what? How many?
He has
He has three because he has his two revolvers and he has his third
Yeah,
revolver because he has his
yeah.
third arm.
Yeah, and then like every time he kills something, he can shoot again.
No.
Or no.
Every time he hits.
Oh, every time he hits, he can shoot
Yeah.
again.
And he hits on twos, I think, rerolling ones.
Yeah, he's just a cool model.
Does 2 damage too. He
He
fires
Marine killer.
Yeah, he's a
Alien
marine killer.
gunslinger.
Since you fold like paper, usually people don't bring Assassinate because Assassinate's like a kill more type of secondary. But because you fold like paper, you can actually take Assassinate against this army, and it actually works pretty decently. So that's really bad. But they still move fast. They shoot hard. They have a ballistic skill of about 4 up and a low amount of shots, so it swings really hard. If you're -1 to hit, it's awful. They're hard to play, so I don't really recommend them for newer players because
No, not at
they
all, not at
are
all.
way too.
They're really
complicated.
cool if you want to. If you have like a Tyranid army. I mean, right now it's hard to play Tyranids just
Yeah.
because it kind of sucks. But if you were like deciding to go Tyranids, and you kind of wanted some Genestealer cult, like fluff wise,
Yeah.
that would be cool.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
then it would be kind of fun to roll it because you can ally them.
Yeah, and you can ally them with Brood Brothers, which is like if you enjoy, if you enjoy Ashnal Terran, you can soup them with that. You can soup them with Tyranids.
It's basically the idea that Genestealer cults have affected the Imperial Guard,
Yeah.
so you can run their tanks and stuff.
Yeah.
Albeit not as effective as Guard can, but still.
Yeah, the models that you want to grab here, Ridge Runners. You want Ridge Runners. Ridge Runners are so good. They have heavy mining lasers. That's a strength 8.
it's gnarly.
I think it's like D3 shot, strength 8 minus like 3 AP or some shit.
it's pretty gnarly.
It's gnarly as hell. They move fast. They're strong. They're a vehicle, so they get big guns never tire. They ignore cover saves and they can infiltrate, which is pretty good. Which is pretty nice.
Can infiltrate?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
They can infiltrate.
What the
They
fuck?
can
Oh,
forward
vehicle
deploy.
is like, zzz.
Patriarch, another really great model. It's just standard, like you kind of just want to run a Patriarch. It's basically a Broodlord. And then Acolyte Hybrids. You want to run those because they can carry your Rock Saws. They have pretty decent Flamers.
They have hand flamers.
Yeah, they have Hand Flamers, which got a buff.
They have 12
Yeah,
inch range
there's a
now.
12-inch range, so you can deep strike some Acolyte Hybrids and do some Flamer action, which is pretty nice. Yeah, and then like besides that, maybe like a Sanctus.
I like Aberrants.
Yeah,
I think
Aberrants
Aberrants are
are
cool.
The
Aberrants
guys
are
that are
cool.
carrying like the stop signs.
Yeah, like
Yeah, no,
hammers and stuff.
see,
yeah.
that's the reason why I wanted to play them. And then CA hit them, and like they're so expensive. You can't run them anymore. They're so
man.
fucking expensive.
They're
in
so
points.
cool though.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, that's Genestealer Colts. Yeehaw! All right, so the next one that we're gonna go over is Eldar.
All
Ooh,
right.
I really like Eldar. I like their lore.
Craftworld
I've
Eldar.
started like
Eldar.
reading into them more, and I kind of like.
Craftworld.
them.
Very
I
cool.
do too. I was
There's,
tied on them for a while.
Craftworlds could suck my dick. Okay, so remember the war with the Necrons before? The old ones created the Eldar to try to stop the Necrons. Didn't work.
The Eldar pretty much just fucked the universe. Like the Eldar are the
Yeah,
reason
yeah,
why
yeah,
everything
yeah,
sucks.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But they
They are the
arrived, and they arrived. Their culture grew so big, and then they became so decadent because the Eldar have very heightened
Yeah,
senses.
yeah.
And so they started torturing and murdering and butt fucking each other so goddamn hard they spawned Slaanesh, and now
Yeah,
Slaanesh is
they
correct.
hate fuck
happened.
the demon into existence.
Yeah.
And then Slaanesh was just like, oh, fuck these guys, and killed
They
like
killed-
90% of them.
90% of their
They're the
world.
ones that created like Nurgle. and-
Just
No,
Slaanesh.
they
It was
created
just
Slaanesh.
The rest were already
What were the
dead.
other ones that they created?
Just them.
Just Slaanesh.
Just Slaanesh.
The concept is that the warp already exists,
Yeah.
and because of all that butt fucking, it went to the warp, and all that energy stirred and created Slaanesh.
Yeah, and they
only
created
Slaanesh.
Yeah, okay.
And then that tore a hole into the universe that we know it,
As the Eye of
thus
Terror.
creating the issue with chaos.
Yeah.
So it's all Eldar's fault.
Basically. So a lot of the Eldar were like, "Yo, this butt fucking, it's a little too scary."
Yeah.
And so they all bailed to the corners of the galaxy.
Yeah.
And so when Slaanesh was birthed and murdered everyone, there are people on things called Craftworlds
Worlds, and
that
that's
survive.
Yeah.
Giant floating spaceships.
And this is
They're
like
continent-sized space starships.
And didn't Slaanesh killed like 90% of them, right?
like
Yeah.
like trillions.
a lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
them.
So like
yeah.
these are a very delicate army.
They're kind of a dying race.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Eldar that live on Craftworlds have dedicated themselves and their lives to the existence of normality.
Yeah, they're
Their
looking for
whole
salvation.
thing is that they're like, we're gonna do this thing, mediocre. And, you know, once I've done that for a while, I'm going to do another thing mediocre. I don't want to feel too much. Am I feeling too much right now? I might be. I'm going to go do something else. Like that. That is their whole thing. Yeah.
On the tabletop, they are fast, they hit hard, and they love the psychic phase. They hit really hard. Pretty swingy. They have a lot of D6 damage things. They love the psychic phase. They have a lot of psychic skills that either buff themselves or nerf the enemy.
That are the same psychic skill.
Yeah.
It's Doom
it's
and
the same.
Jinx.
Yeah, so you can pick one or the other, whichever one you feel like might be better in the situation. Pretty nutty. Very mobile. They play the objective well. They are in parts of the map they have no business being in. They can control the flow of the game with their mobility. They have a lot of different Craftworld attributes that you can use to get a passive. Personally, the only one I think is really good is the Alatok, the one that gives them Alatok. Yeah, the one that gives them a -1 to hit outside of 12 inches. In 8th edition, you used to be able to stack this -1 to hit and become nearly impossible to hit.
-3 to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be hitting.
Not no mo.
Yeah, can't hit me.
Which is why they're like C tier.
Yep, can't do that in 9th edition. Most you can do is -1.
The only thing I don't like about Craftworlds is their stupid fucking helmet.
Yeah, their helmets are.
They have like bowling pin heads. I hate
Well,
it.
Craftworlds have like Guard and Orc syndrome, where their models are very old.
Yeah.
And they're great. They still look stupid. But
Dire Avengers are pretty rad. I like the way they look.
Warp Spiders.
Yeah, Warp
really
Spiders,
cool.
like they're cone heads, you know,
Yeah.
like. But that's the thing about them is that's what accentuates the fact that they're so alien. You know, like that's what they were going with
To have
model
a bowling
sculpts.
pin
Well,
head?
they're space elves.
Yeah, they're space
Yeah, they look like
elves,
they look like space
Everything's
I just wish that they looked
elongated
better.
and like
That's all it
fancy.
is.
Yeah.
Also,
I agree though. Like the looks are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, if they were just normal helmets, they would just look like skinny space marines, you know?
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah.
Craftworlds, I believe they are in the lower bracket.
They're not great.
They're not
They're not
good.
great.
They're
Yeah,
probably
they're
the least
very
played of
low
all the
right now.
Eldar right now.
When
Yeah.
you were able to stack -3 to hit, which no one enjoyed besides you. That's why I hate them so much. They were a lot better, but you know they still hit really hard, but they just don't have enough. They need more.
They don't have enough to counter how squishy they are.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I went up against them, and I was like, "Oh my god, you all just die!"
In terms of what to like models to get. Warlocks and Farseers
yeah.
they have their own jet bikes. Those are really good.
Yeah.
You need Guardians for your troop.
Oh yeah,
base.
definitely Guardians.
And I would also recommend like some of their flyers. They're pretty good, like Crimson Hunter Exarchs and Night Spinners, which aren't flyers, and then also Shining Spears.
Shining Spears
Spears
is
are-
what you want to
Shining
spam,
Spears.
right? I'm pretty sure.
I think Wraith Guard might be a thing. They're either suck or they're really good right now, and I forget which one's which.
Wraith Lords are pretty good right now.
Wraith Lords,
Yeah,
pretty good.
Wraith
Okay.
Lords are pretty good
I
right
wish
now.
the Wraith Knight was better.
Yeah, the
dude,
Wraith
I'm
Knight's
all,
really
I'm
cool,
all
yeah.
Wraith Lords,
All
dude.
right. So
Those
that
look really cool.
so that was Craftworlds. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. Next, we're going to talk about the next another faction within Eldar, Drukhari.
Drukhari.
These ones are a little.
These are
These
little
are some nasty
So,
boys.
let's just say you
They
don't
went
want,
the other way.
you
Yeah.
don't want, you
Yeah.
don't want your daughter to pick up Drukhari. Is all
Yeah,
I'm saying.
don't do that.
Oh my god,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
all do.
Yeah.
They all do.
So Drukhari, when Slaanesh was born and everyone died, there are some people in the Webway, which is like a mini, like a mini warp travel system for the Eldar,
It's a subway through the web.
pretty much.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, all right.
It's like,
Subway.
yeah, it's
So-
like Wreck-It Ralph too.
So there were a lot of covens and cults that existed there doing really depraved stuff, and then when all the Eldar died. The idea is that the Craftworlds and the Eldar, like Slaanesh kind of has their souls in their grip. Whenever they die, Slaanesh takes their soul. These
They
people
have it like in their gems, don't they?
they
Soul
use
stones are the only way
Yeah,
that
the
you can
stones are-
prevent your soul from going to the
Yeah,
demon.
yeah.
Drukhari didn't have that happen to them because they were in the Webway, but Slaanesh has like a pinky grip on them.
Yeah.
So
Always.
like at all times, she's always like just barely grasping onto your soul. So the concept is the Drukhari, they found out that by doing Slaaneshi things, which is murder, torture, like a lot of torture, a lot of non-consensual sexy times and that kind of stuff, because I don't think I should say the word. Doing a lot of that pleases Slaanesh and staves her off.
Yeah.
So
Enough.
we've reached the point of edginess in Warhammer to where the only way that a race does not go extinct is by murdering and butt fucking people to death.
Literally.
Because we've reached that
Yeah.
point.
Literally to
Yeah.
death, and then taking their bodies,
And
not
doing-
allowing their souls
Yeah.
to escape,
Yeah.
and then turning them into ornaments.
Yeah,
like that is
Yes.
furniture. They're
Yeah.
still alive.
Yes, living couches
furniture.
and hats.
It is it's
terrible.
Really
It's
fucked.
terrible. You do not want to get captured by the Drukhari.
No.
If you are an Imperial civilian, being captured by the Drukhari is the worst fate. It is the worst fate. You will know pain and suffering for 20 years, and then you will be turned into a breathing piece of furniture.
Yeah.
It is awful. That being said, on like gameplay though, because
They got some cool stuff.
they have some neat shit. Their models are really spindly and hard to paint and super gross, but they're a little hard to play. Imagine like Eldar, but ×2. They're faster, and they have a lot more melee combat, but they have other special rules, but they probably are squishier, I'd argue. They're like a little bit of they're the more excessive version of the Eldar.
Yeah.
They have poison
Yeah.
weapons. They have they take a lot of drugs. That gives them special benefits.
Oh, I love
Combat
that part.
drugs.
Combat drugs
Combat
is
drugs.
so funny.
They have power through pain, which is as the match gets longer, they get more buffs and benefits. I'll be totally honest, it's so kind of hard at describing Dark Eldar's playstyle. Craftworld's probably more your shebang if you're new. But Dark Eldar, it's the concept that you have all these different kinds of sadistic cults, and they all have their own benefits, and they all do their own thing. You know, you do still have regular old. We'll talk about Harlequins soon, but you have the concept of you got lots of venoms, you have lots of transports. You're very fast. You hit really hard. You pop on out. You do lots of melee damage. You've got lots of like feel no pains and reroll charges because of all your drugs and shit. You hit pretty hard.
Beautiful
Generally,
models.
They look really good.
You know, the models.
Some
themselves
of
are
them
great.
are a
What's
little
the
old,
spaceship or what's the pirate ship one?
The Ravager, Raider.
Are those the Raiders?
There's the Ravager or the Raider.
Like those things are cool.
Well, I don't know how good mandrakes are, but I really like mandrakes, and they're cool. They throw fireballs. They actually throw fireballs. Like,
yeah.
I think we're all really excited to get the Demeki's Drukhari army.
Yeah,
yeah.
they seem like a fun army
Yeah,
to play.
Drukhari, unfortunately, they're also in the lower bracket
Yeah.
of play.
They're not as bad as I don't think they suffer as bad as Craftworlds.
Agreed.
Yes.
Because of the fact that they're so much faster.
Yeah, and
You
because
know.
they have poison, poison's always like decent. Like
A Venom has a 16-inch move.
yeah.
Like, you're gonna get there.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is like you need if you're not going to have staying power, you need speed.
Yeah.
And they just do that better than Craftworlds.
Also, I do think that Drukhari have more room for good play. I think if you're a better player, Drukhari, you can find a lot into. I have a lot of respect for Drukhari players because it's a very bizarre army, and finding success with it is difficult. I think
Yeah,
it's good.
it's very much like you need to execute the plan perfectly.
Yeah.
And you need to know exactly how to do that.
Speaking of hard to play armies, Matt, would you like to talk to us about your second army and your new favorite, or maybe not your new favorite, but like your new main?
No tanks.
Okay.
On the Orks. Okay. Orks.
Okay, so the next thing that we have is Harlequins. So Harlequins, they're basically like killer clowns. Like think of it like that.
They're not
killer clowns, but like that. Like
They look like clowns.
they look.
They have clothing reminiscent
No.
of that.
I
of
literally
which
have this
a
written down.
jester would wear.
I have this.
boiling it down.
I have this written down. I have it saying, wear masquerade masks, more like death jesters. So, Harlequins are part of the Eldar. They're one of the factions that follow their god Seguro, who is the god of trick, or Segura?
No one fucking knows.
Nobody knows how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
I say Kegarok.
Oh, I think
Some people say
I'll say-
Segorok. That's the first time I've ever heard that one before.
Yeah,
though.
it's Segoroth.
Segura?
Cigarette.
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 They follow
Don't
the
say
god
cigarette.
of trickery.
Clown King.
Yeah, the Clown King, the god of trickery.
Bazinga.
The Harlequins are like they were like theater people in the Eldar race
were
before the whole
performers.
Yes.
before
Yeah.
the whole Slanesh thing. They were the ones that were in charge of theater. They were like entertainment, dancing.
Eldar theater.
Yes, Eldar's theater.
Eldar theater is different.
Historians.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they kind of like now what they do is they kind of protect like the Eldar race a little bit. They want to
Black
Black
they
Library.
protect the Black Library, all the knowledge from Eldar. They protect like they go through the warp in order to or no the webway.
The webway,
They go
yeah.
through the webway in order to protect other like they'll Segura will just be like, oh, we need you here, and he won't say why, but then they'll just go there and then they'll fight to do whatever Segura's bidding is, and then they'll return back. But they don't know the reason why they're fighting. They're just following what Segura wants.
Yes.
And because Segura like knows all basically. When they fight, it's like an art form.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
It's a dance of
it looks like really pretty. They come in, they move super fast, and when they move fast, they disorient their enemies by all their bright colors of their clothing, and then disorients them. And then when they look like into their mask or something, they see like all their greatest fears before they die. But
Well,
yeah,
and every battle is a role to play.
yeah, exactly.
They have specific roles that they play in the upcoming battle.
Yeah, so it's all just like an art form. It's really, really cool. It's also one of the armies.
Jumpy, stop it.
It's
Calm down, son.
I told you not to leave a tape measure on the table. I said this would happen.
I love these guys. The way they are a top army. They can hang with like
They are.
they can hang with Space Marines and stuff. They're not on the Space Marine or Sisters of Battle level, but they can definitely hang with them. The way that they play is that they want to move all over the board. Melee combat with them is super, super strong. They want to stay within the auras that they have and capitalize on things like Flip Belt, which lets them ignore terrain. You can put units inside of things called open top transport and then fling them across the map and then shoot pistols at people, shoot guns at people.
Pistols and guns.
Pistols and guns, which are different
Also,
things.
gats.
Yeah, they have an army-wide advance, fallback, and charge. You know, in the very beginning, we talked about this with White Scars, and what made White Scars so good was because they had advance and charge and fallback and charge, and Harlequins have the same thing. They have an army-wide advance, fallback, and charge, move super, super fast. They hit really, really hard. They have an army-wide 4-up invuln that you can make into a 3-up invuln. They have redeploy stratagems. I don't recommend them for new players, just because they break all the rules.
Yeah,
They
too hard.
Yeah, they literally break almost every rule in the game. Models I recommend, and this is gonna be stupid because there's only like
all of
there's literally all of them.
Literally all of them.
You literally want everything except for the solitaire. You want to grab a troop box. Troops are probably the best model that they have.
Yeah.
Arguably, I would argue that they are.
Just troops on troops on troops.
Yeah, you want troops. They're literally called just troops. But
spelled differently.
With the U.
yeah, with the U.
They're
They
spelled properly. Yeah.
they hit hard. Got melee weapons that are really, really strong. They attack a lot. They can run fusion pistols, which is just a melt-a-gun. A troop box also. If you buy one troop box, and this is value, you get 5 troops and 1 troop master.
Woo!
That's an HQ.
Oh.
That's actually really good.
That's
That's
really
really good. Yeah.
Because your troop master is stupid fucking strong.
Yeah.
What's
And
that?
you wanna
Reroll
honestly,
all
where you-
wounds?
Yeah.
Where you
Reroll all
spend the
wounds,
most
yeah.
money is on your jet bikes. Your
Yeah.
Skyweavers,
Yeah.
I think they're
Yeah,
called.
yeah. You're
Yeah.
definitely gonna spend the most money on your Skyweavers. Let's
Because you
see.
just need so many of
Yeah,
them.
you want a Shadow Seer. Shadow Seer is awesome. It's your basically your anchor character. Giving her Shadowstone, you get a 9-inch aura for almost like all of your abilities. -1 to wound aura. Takes away like a 6-inch range from other people's guns. And then Star Weavers, just because you can transport your troops in them, probably one of the better transports in the entire game.
You have to.
-1, they're -1 to hit, 4-up invuln. They auto advance. You can carry fusion pistols inside of them with your troops, and then have them shoot.
Open top is really cool.
Open top, yeah. That's Harlequins. Finally,
They're clowns.
They're clowns.
they're clowns. Anything that you guys want to add to Harlequins at all?
They're not clowns.
All right, the last
but not
one.
least,
The last one. And they're
Chat,
done.
What's the chat saying, Raph? Are they ready for orcs?
Yeah, they're doing the WoW thing. WoW thing.
Everybody, I think, knows who orcs are. Orcs are the green tide. They are the monsters that know nothing but battle. That's all they do. They're giant green squibblies. They're fucking orcs. Everybody knows them. Ricky, you can help me out with this one.
Yes.
They were created by the Eldar?
They were created by the old ones.
By the old
that
ones.
also created the Eldar because they were like, holy shit, the Necrons are fucking murdering us. Get in there, Orks. And they didn't get there fast enough.
Orcs are the most psychically powerful of all the alien races and the human races and everything combined.
Yeah.
But they are too fucking stupid to actually know. So basically, like, the way that the Orcs work is like through ramshackle and various things like that. If they think it enough, if they will it enough, it'll work. Like, they'll think, oh, this gun, it's gonna shoot hard. It will shoot hard. If a person picked that up, it would fall to pieces. The only reason that gun works is because the orc believes it will.
Now, granted, one small misconception with that is that every orc can just do this willy-nilly.
No.
It has each orc is
Enough
a psyker,
of
but
them.
it needs to be like a big group of orcs.
Yeah, enough of
One
them
orc
have
is
to
a barely a psyker, but a big enough of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The coolest thing about orcs, especially when it comes to the tabletop, is that colors of the armor and stuff actually play a role. Red orcs go faster. Like anything painted red, they move fast.
fastest color.
Red's the fastest color. Yellow is like the most explosive. It's the strong, color. They even have rules for pink orcs where they're weak because they're ashamed. Blue orcs are stealthy.
they're lucky.
Lucky.
Lucky,
No,
yeah,
blue orcs
they're
are
lucky.
lucky.
Purple orcs are stealthy.
Purple orcs are stealthy.
Do you know why?
Because nobody's ever seen a purple.
No one's
orc.
ever seen a purple orc.
You can get them for relative. I mean, they're pretty cheap right now. I think, right, as far as the
Oh no,
majority
orcs,
of the orc stuff.
orcs are very expensive.
Oh,
They're
has it gone
they're-
up?
They are
Well,
they are
ma-
tied with Tyranids probably for the most expensive
Maybe
models.
some individual kits, but
Yeah.
if you the army, if you want to make the army.
The coolest thing about them, though, is that you can take parts from any army.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
make
yeah.
them orcs.
Oh yeah, literally, if you want to know about stuff like conversions and converting models, orcs are like the army that you want to
Oh
run
yeah,
because
there
there's
are
so
people,
many conversions.
There are
you can
people
run.
that buy like a model of a fire truck and then they throw a bunch of Warhammer 40k parts on it and then they throw some orcs in it. Like, orc wagon. Yeah. We're like, that's an orc
Yeah.
vehicle now.
Mark-
and you're
Mark,
just
you
like,
can-
there's literally rules for it. Like, we've got
Mark
we
did
got
a
lots
monster
of
truck.
stuff over
We've
there.
got like a Gravedigger monster truck that got painted red because red's fast, and then he's got an orc standing on top of it with a guitar.
But
You have an entire army made of trash, and that's functional.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that you want to do the Imperial
The
Guard
story.
Yeah.
So there's a couple Imperial Guard stories. One of my favorite ones. I don't know if this is true or not, but I honestly don't care. So there's a bunch of guardsmen. They're staying behind a barricade and they're shooting at orcs, and they just keep on coming. They don't stop, and they've been firing for hours. And eventually, all their weapons run dry, and the orcs are coming onto them. And then soon, one of the guardsmen says, "I have an idea." He points his gun and goes, "Bang!" And an orc falls dead. And all the guards look at him like. And they all start going, "Bah, bah, 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 bah," and all the orcs start falling dead, and they all start dying in front of them. And then eventually, after enough time, they hear these orcs chanting something as they roll down the hill, and the orcs aren't falling down. And as they get closer, they hear, "I'm a tank, I'm a tank, I'm a tank, I'm a tank, I'm a tank."
That's not real.
That's
There's no way that's not real. That's not real.
The coolest thing about playing orcs is that you don't have to think about playing orcs. All you have to think about is there are people over there and I'm going there. That's
Yeah.
the whole,
Yeah,
like,
you
you
can-
can play them smart. You can play them by using some guns. They're really bad at shooting, but if you have enough of them, if you've got enough
good
DACA,
rolls.
yeah, you
Daka,
get
daka,
lucky.
daka.
Yeah, you got enough going. But the funnest thing about orcs is you're just like, the whole army across the table.
There's one gameplay style, and it's this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally called the Green Tide.
Like orcs, they a lot of all other armies they have. You want a low ballistic skill, right? You want it to be like a 2 or higher. You want to roll a 2 or higher in order for your weapons to hit. Fucking orcs don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They only hit on 5s for most of their stuff, which means that you can. So you need to have 5s and 6s,
Yeah.
and then if you roll a 6, it's called DACA or more DACA, and then you can re-roll.
I think
it's DACA.
Is that DACA DACA?
More DACA.
Oh, this is a stratagem.
It's a shoot
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah. But that's called DACA DACA, and then if you roll a 6, it's like, oh, well, I get to roll another dice and see if that hits.
You get a free shot.
Yeah, you get a free
you
shot.
get an additional shot.
But
Which can be
yeah,
pretty
they
gross.
hit on 5s, but they are so massive in the amount of shots that they do that they still hit fine.
Yeah,
Yep.
you
They
get a
rival guard for number of shots.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
get
like-
a literal shovel and just throw it in the dice
Yeah,
box.
any memes that you hear about 40K where it's like, oh, you're just throwing a bucket of dice, that's literally Orks.
Yep, hands down.
Literally
yep.
Orks.
Yep.
Let's talk about their competitiveness.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, they are. Like right now, they're
they're
fairly competitive.
Yeah, they're fairly
not,
competitive.
They're not top tier.
They're kind of mid-tier.
Yeah.
They can eke out a win just because of the meta that's going on right now.
Yeah,
where
and
it's like a lot of elites.
depends on the tactics of how you play them.
What are the models?
So the models to
recommendation?
take, and this is I've yet to really run a lot of orcs. I've done it very mildly, but you're basically a big mech. You know, your HQs you've got a good amount. You've got War Boss on a war bike. If you want to run a lot of vehicles, you've got Gazgul Thraka, of course. Deathkiller War Trike, which is like the big trike. Big mech with a custom force field. You can run a couple of those. Troop choices, boys.
Boys.
Slugga, choppa, slugga, doesn't matter which one.
Boys.
Your elites, you've got commandos, mega knobs, knobs on war bikes. I almost said that in that stupid accent. There's
All
mega
right.
tracks, scrapjacks, there's
love
dragsters,
scrapjacks.
battle wagons,
Burn-a-bombers.
Burn-a-bombers.
Where's the Burn-a-bomber?
Burn-a-bomber.
It's actually not
Burn-a-bomber.
on this one. It must
I
have got
love
cut
the
off.
Burn-a-bomber.
Flying Headbutt might be
One of the-
oh my god.
Dude,
There's
Flying
a
Headbutt might
lot
be
of-
one of the strongest fucking stratagems
And
in
that's
the
the,
game.
and
It's
that's
so
the
good.
coolest thing about orcs is that when you get into them, you don't have to know anything about Warhammer 40K. You really don't.
No, they're the comic relief.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're and also too, it's like, man, I want a gun who like shoots a lot. What would I take? Shoots a lot gun. Oh, there it is, right there. Like it's like super self-explanatory.
Big
like,
shooter.
Yeah, big shooter makes sense. Okay, yeah, like-
I need something that hits. Oh, Slugga.
yeah, exactly. Like,
Big chopper.
definitely, I think a really good army if you want to get into it.
Definitely.
If you want to get into 40K but don't know that much,
Expensive.
All right.
it's
All right,
expensive.
guys. All right, guys. We have done this long enough.
We have.
We are done.
It's been a week.
Yeah, it's been one whole week.
It has been 5.5 hours.
This is every single army that besides like a
not every
select
single
few.
army.
Fuck off. But yeah, that's Xenos, guys.
single army.
Xenos,
It's a good amount.
very fun. I hope that
playable
helps
army.
persuade you into a direction that you want, or helps guide you into what direction you want to go into for a Xenos army. And yeah, thank you guys for joining us. I really do appreciate it. If you guys like this video, make sure that you guys hit the thumbs up and you press the subscribe button. And that's it.
Yay!
Boo-boo.
I can go to
Bye-bye.
bed.
Awesome. Cool. Oh my God.
How does that feel?
We're
Can-
still streaming.
can
Hey
you-
guys.